حاطط
تحياتنا لكم متابعينا ومشاهدينا من قناة شو الأخبار. معكم حسين هاشم وحلقة جديدة من حلقات خاصة أكيد تعرض حصريا على قناة شو الأخبار. Good evening and welcome everyone to WhatsApp Media Network. This is Hussein Hashim, and tonight we're going to have an exclusive interview for the first time with Mayor-Elect Abdullah Hammoud. Abdullah has been constantly coming to WhatsApp Media for different interviews before the election, but this will be the first time that we actually talk to Abdullah one-on-one after election. I don't want to talk a lot. I want to give the time to our star, Abdullah Hammoud. Like, you like to be called star, Abdullah?
No, just Abdullah.
Huh?
Just Abdullah.
Abdullah wala star?
Just Abdullah.
Just Abdullah. Congrats on winning the election.
Thank you so much.
What's your reflection on the results? Did you sit down with yourself, thought about the process, what happened, since you started?
We haven't had time to really sit down and just have time to think.
No.
I think similar to you, when you win that night, you celebrate, and then the next day you wake up and it's time to get to work.
Exactly.
And so it was an exciting time. It was a humbling moment. But we've been working. What day is it? It's been the last 2 weeks. We've been working very hard, and we've a long way to go.
Abdullah, looking at your status right now, you're still a state rep.
Correct.
You are the mayor-elect for one of the largest city in Michigan, and then you are expecting a baby.
Yeah.
How are you managing your time?
Time is the most valuable asset. I'm blessed because I have a great team. We have a transition team also that's helping us in the process, and we'll talk about it. Mm-hmm. But if who I think would have been a better mayor than me would be my wife, and so she's been phenomenal. Inshallah تخلص بالسلامة. We're excited though. I'm more excited for fatherhood than I am for anything else.
Nice.
And so
you expecting a boy or a girl?
We haven't disclosed publicly. So
sorry, ولا بنت?
بنت إن شاء الله.
بنت.
إن شاء الله.
Did you guys choose a name?
No.
You didn't choose a name?
No.
You gotta wait for the moment you guys see her to choose a name.
I believe that.
Expecting any time, I heard. So
anytime.
She might call you right now live. She's like, Abdullah, I'm going to deliver.
Inshallah. But we're excited.
So what's hardest, that waiting to be to meet your daughter, while waiting to see the results for the election, that election night?
Oh, it's not. It's you have two girls.
Yeah.
And it's just the excitement of wanting to meet.
Yeah.
So inshallah, it's a healthy delivery for my wife and a healthy baby. But I'm just ready to hold and to be a father. And then the waiting for the results, that's a part of the process. You go through it a few times. Alhamdulillah, we were fortunate enough we won. But now I'm more excited for the work.
Yeah.
I don't care much for the campaigning. It's something you have to do to attain the job. But I'm really passionate about doing the work.
That night, Abdullah, you won the election. Where were you? Like that moment you knew you won.
We were in the back, what they call the boiler room. So we had the whole team around the table, myself, my wife, and the kitchen cabinet. Mm-hmm. And George Durrani was on the phone call, reading the results out, and the team announced the numbers.
Nice.
And I didn't understand what had happened in that moment. It took a few times for them to repeat what had happened. And then from there, you have to go on stage, you give the speech, talk to media, wake up the next day, and it takes a few days until you actually realize what happened. I imagine it was the same for you.
Yeah.
It doesn't absorb right away. It takes a few days, a week to settle in. When the phone calls start coming in, the messages, then you understand, okay, now I have to execute this agenda that I've laid out. I have to build this team and begin the transition process.
What's the first thing that came to your mind when you knew you won?
Alhamdulillah. I opened up my speech with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We plan, he plans, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the greatest of planners.
Yeah.
Throughout the entirety of the campaign, I'm a firm believer, and everyone knows who my uncle is and the family I come from. I'm a firm believer that you don't pray asking for the thing that you want. Rather, you pray asking for what's best for you and your family.
Definitely.
And inshallah, this is that pathway, and so I'm excited for it. And so in my mind, it was, Allah's given me this opportunity to give back, and to keep that present. That this is not about any individual. It's not about Abdullah Hammoud. It's not about the directors. It's about the residents and what we can do for them.
Definitely. Did it make it special that you're the first Arab American, Muslim American elected to this office? I mean, moving forward from 1985. Where we were talking about the Arab problem to 2021, where we have a mayor-elect who happens to be an Arab and who happens to be an Muslim?
It's certainly historic in that way. And it's special to demonstrate that you don't have to change who you are. You don't have to change your name. You don't have to change your faith. That you can still run for office here in the city of Dearborn, and we elect you based on the direction in which you lead and not the direction in which you pray. And I think that's a very powerful message. And for us, it's not about being the first. It's about being the best. And so although people like to celebrate the first and speak to it, that's great. But I think that just raises the bar for what we have to accomplish while in office. And so my eyes are on the prize, and we're focused on...
So you're not the last, you know what I mean? So you open the door for others to be able, to be easier for them.
You most certainly want to demonstrate that an Arab American and Muslim American can do as good a job, if not better than anyone else, to your point, so that the next time somebody runs for such a position, people don't have a bad taste in their mouth from the last time a Arab or Muslim mayor was in office. And so certainly I think success is defined in that way, where you've done such a great job that it makes it easier maybe for the next time somebody comes with a slightly different name, a slightly different faith, and making it, the road travel
just, people need to understand that being an Arab, being an American, a Muslim, or being someone that doesn't look or speak the same way as they do, doesn't make them less of an American, to be honest with you.
I think the accents, the name like Abdullah, I think our faith, it's all as American as any other. And that's the beauty of America. It's the beauty of Dearborn. It's a rich and vibrant city, a community made up of diverse groups of people. And we found a way to live amongst one another peacefully and to celebrate that diversity. And I think we really are the example for the rest of the country on how we do it.
Definitely. Kidi, greetings to everyone that's watching us. A lot of people are watching, a lot of people are tuning in, so thank you so much. I see a lot of comments. Many people are congratulating you, Abdullah, on your win, wishing you the best of luck. Keep writing your comments. If you have any question to Mayor-Elect Abdullah Hammoud, please write it in the comment section, and inshallah we'll try to answer your questions to the best of our ability with the time that's allowed for us today. Abdullah, talking about the transition, you guys don't have a lot of time, actually. I mean, in January, you guys have to take office. How's the transition has been, especially with the current administration?
The current administration has been open arms. They've been very receptive to many of our requests. I've already been inside of our city hall and spoken with many of the directors and the chiefs of staff and the mayor. They're accommodating. They're trying to make the process as seamless as possible, trying to do what's best for the residents. But we wasted no time. The night of the election, we launched our transition website immediately. And so we had taken that into account. DearbornTransition.com. And if you go now, there's a community survey. We're asking for residents to provide their input. You can tell us, what is your vision for Dearborn? What are some ideas you have for the next administration? We also have check boxes. What areas of expertise or interest do you have? Public health, environment, planning, zoning. And do you ever want to be considered for an appointment on a board or commission? And so we're trying to gather all this information early, so when we get into office and opportunities present themselves for appointments, we're already prepared. We also launched a career page on there. So the mayor has the powers to appoint various directors throughout the city. I imagine we'll get further into that in this conversation. And so what we're asking people to do is to check the box of the department that they'd like to work in and the directorship that they're seeking. This is just a preliminary phase for us to begin to collect resumes. But we also allow people to submit a resume and select, other personnel or staff. Now, we can't hire those people because they have to go through the traditional HR process. But what we want to do is collect a bank of resumes. So we have qualified candidates already before us. So when the positions open up, we can ping them and inform them, hey, apply through this official process through the city now that these positions have been opened. So we have a full transition website. It's an about me, also about our transition team.
Exactly. You have a transition team now.
Yes.
It's there's 8 people in that team.
Correct.
Many asked, how did you choose that team?
So we have 8 members on the transition team and 1 transition director. The transition director, her name is Marianne Phillips. It's not a name that many people in Dearborn know.
True.
Marianne is my mentor. I've known Marianne for about 12 years. I first worked for Marianne after I graduated from the School of Public Health, and she had a think tank that she created at the University of Michigan. Before that, she was an appointee by Governor Granholm, leading one of the largest departments in the state of Michigan. And she's just recognized as one of the most brilliant minds in healthcare and in government. And so I thought somebody who had no political biases, who can have an objective perspective on the city of Dearborn, an outside perspective, and somebody who knows who understands management of people and systems and organizations would be great to lead the helm. As it came to the 8, we took a cross-section of the city of Dearborn. We were very intentional in the diversity of these 8 individuals. We're very intentional in making sure that we had our regional partners with Wayne County, that we had nonprofits involved with the Kresge Foundation and Zainal Hassan, Yasat Turfi in Wayne County. We had the schools involved with higher education with Russ Cavaluna, Marianne, who's a professor at University of Michigan, and with Iman Ali Ahmed, who is our principal at Salina. We had the environmentalists in the South End community involved with the inclusion of Salah Ali. We had our largest employers involved with Stephanie Fries from Ford and with Jackie Nash from Beaumont Health. And we had labor with Bernie Rickey. Making sure I said everyone. Am I missing anyone? I believe that is everyone.
Yeah, you said everyone.
And so we were just very cognizant. We wanted to make sure everybody was included. But we're taking it even a step further. This Saturday, we have 6 community transition conversations where we've invited another 5, anywhere between 5 to 25 per each 2-hour block to discuss 6 of the biggest departments in the city, asking for more community input, what they're looking for out of the department, what are the biggest issues, what qualities they look for in a director, and what questions they have for the transition team to ask people who are interviewing for those positions. And so we'll share more about those conversations.
Are those open to the public or by invitation?
We invited people who are stakeholders who have been involved in the process. And so that's another outlet just to engage another 100 people in addition to the community survey that's available. Then we're going to host a town hall hopefully soon and just have an open conversation about the various issues that residents want to talk about. So we're trying to be as transparent, as accessible and accountable as possible.
A lot of people maybe don't know, Abdullah, that a mayor is not able to change the whole city in terms of is not able to appoint in every positions.
Yeah.
Which positions will a mayor be able to appoint?
Yeah. Largely the directors of the city. So those are the positions that the mayor gets to appoint. The directors, the chief of staff, your police and fire chief. But even amongst directors, it's not all of them. For example, the library director is appointed by the Library Commission. The HR director is appointed by the Civil Service Commission. So there's a few exceptions. The city engineer, although it's like a director position, that's hired through the traditional city civil service process. And so, but your building department, your DP Public Works department, your Parks and Recreation department, economic development, your corporate counsel and legal department, all those appointments fall within the mayor's powers to appoint.
Okay. And what would be the exact role of the transition team? Will they be the one making the decision on who they're going to be there? Or does the final decision will come to you?
Ultimately, the final decision rests with myself. And so what the transition team is there for, we have a lot of people working behind the scenes to go through the resumes. What we've also done is we've sent a template to every department in the whole city, and we've asked them to fill it out. This is a report that we're going to hand off to the next director. Or if it's the same director, at least they've conducted this report for themselves. And what this is just making sure that the next person knows what the most pressing issues are. The reality is, in addition to the mayor retiring, many of our directors are also retiring or leaving elsewhere.
True.
And we're getting filled in on that. And so the transition team, what we'll do is we'll filter through the resumes, we'll identify qualified candidates, and then we'll move some of the finalists through the transition team.
Nice.
And the transition team will assist us in interviewing those candidates because they have a cross-section of experience and ask them the tough questions. And then they'll provide me with a recommendation on who they felt was best qualified or performed the best in an interview. But ultimately, the decision rests with myself. Additionally, another task that we're working with the transition team is restructuring the city. The city hasn't changed in organizational structure in a long time.
Sure.
So we're taking this time to evaluate, do we have the right departments? Are there other new entities that we have to create? Are there some that we can collapse? Should planning be within legal, or should planning department move out of the legal department? And so we're evaluating all those questions right now, and these reports that we provided the departments will be helpful in making those decisions.
That's very good. Abdullah, when it comes to taking responsibilities and stuff, I know you guys are going to be facing a lot of issues. And we've been facing a lot of issues in Dearborn. Some of those major issues, and I know you know that because you talked about, and you talked about plans. But it's now administering those plans. When we talk about the infrastructures, when we talk about reckless driving, and we've seen what happened with the 6-year-old girl just not too long ago. When we talk about marijuana, policing community, disability, environmental. I want to start with environmental and pollution because your first, when you announced, you kicked off your campaign, I remember because I was there, You basically had the kickoff next to Salina, and you had the manufacturing behind you.
Yeah.
Talk about, you know, environmental policy and stuff. What are you looking to achieve?
Yeah, one of the things we're looking to do is, you know, when we talk about improving the quality of life for people, what I think of is, how do you measure it? Does the city even track how we measure it? And so some of it comes down to the fundamentals.
Yeah.
Conducting a survey and gathering information from residents. You know, what are the asthma rates currently in the city? Who's suffering from some chronic conditions? And so we want to actually begin to collect this information through anonymous surveys, right?
Okay.
And so that we can track people's quality of life over, you know, over the years and identify, are we doing a better job or not? Secondly, you know, we passed the fugitive dust ordinance that came into effect, you know, just last year. And we have some recommendations for how we strengthen it and make it a little bit stronger. We're already in conversations with some of the many of the larger employers in the area about some of the small things that we need to do without an ordinance that can help improve the overall air quality in the area. You know, how we can navigate truck routes out of the neighborhoods onto the main roads.
Nice.
We're working with Wayne County right now. There's a parcel of land that we identified in the campaign we submitted to transform it into a new green space. It'll two parts. One, it'll collect the pollution out of the air with some of the vegetation that we plant.
Yeah.
Secondly, it'll serve as space to collect excess rainwater to help avoid some flooding. So we're looking at the feasibility. Is this actually, you know, we're trying to bring in the engineering and such now to explore those options. So we have many conversations happening. But before we even get there, the most important thing is having the right people in the city.
Yeah.
Abdullah Hammoud can't be everywhere.
Yeah.
And so I have to make sure I have a team that I trust, that's competent, that's smart, that knows what they're doing. And that's what we're currently looking for right now.
In terms of reckless driving, since we get a lot of questions when people know, you know, you're going to be with us today, what are some of the ideas you guys are looking at, if you would like to share them now? Yeah,
you know, we had our plan during the campaign.
Yeah.
It was a 3-part plan. One of which was looking at the, you know, the use of speed humps and color coding some of the streets to try to make things safer in some of the hotspot areas and neighborhoods where they have high traffic incidents or speeding occurrences. A second is the different deployment of our police officers.
Yeah.
We know that we don't have as many officers in our neighborhoods as we used to back in the day, but a part of that is because a lot of these major corporations like Walmart, for example, pulls officers out of our neighborhood for a crime of poverty.
Yeah.
And so we've already entered conversations with Walmart about how we can try to resolve that issue. And so we're doing the best that we can, but ultimately, you know, those everyday decisions about police deployment and such will rest with the police chief. And so we're hoping that we'll have a qualified, competent police chief in place to help make those decisions and to bring our vision to reality.
I was going to ask about that. So you're going to have a change in the head of the department for the police?
So
since you mentioned that,
so the way we've done it is we've opened up the application process for all existing directors and police chiefs to submit. And as they submit, we'll go through the process.
Perfect.
We did this because we didn't want anyone to think that we cut any deals along the campaign trail. And so the most qualified, the best fit, the recommendation that comes out of the transition team, ultimately my decision, will move forward in that manner.
People are saying, let's be tough on those who are driving recklessly, who are speeding. What's your take on this?
You know, my take is people who, for example, the incident that happened recently, very devastating incident.
It is.
Devastating in both ways. It's a young 6-year-old girl who lost her life. And it's a young 18-year-old young man. Not even, he's 18.
Exactly.
And if you speak to the report, I don't know if it was severe speeding. I think it was, you know, just maybe a few miles per hour above 30 miles per hour. So, but this person is, you know, he's been charged and he's going to lose a part of his life as well. And it's a very sad incident. I think the laws are in place on what's illegal and what's not. And so people say crack down, I think it's about enforcement. We certainly want to ensure that those who speed and understand the severity of what happens. But my focus is not going to be, you know, how do you ticket the speeder? It's what can we do to stop someone from ever speeding? That is the success. Preventing the speeding, preventing the reckless driving. And so hopefully with our 3-part plan, we can do a much better job in that area.
Inshallah. Abdullah, you know, many people want the best services. State-of-the-art facilities. But then, you know, they don't know, or they know that, for example, everything is about budgeting. And the way how cities make money is through tax revenues, to the biggest extent of it. You know, we've seen in the election, the same election where you won, also the proposed millage has failed. how much money the city is going to lose because of, you know, the failure of this proposal?
Yeah, so the 3.5 supplemental operating millage failed. So what that means is...
It was at 2.75, I believe, this time.
They recommended 2.75, but 3.5 has to come off.
Has to come off.
Correct.
Right, 100%.
So what that means is we have to reduce our expenses by $16 million.
So $16 million, this is what the city is
by
going to
June
lose?
2022.
Okay.
So we have 6 months.
So 6 months. In 6 months, you're facing $16 million budget cut.
Correct.
Is that going to impact the services?
So we're going to do our best to, you know, prioritize the quality services that people have come to expect. We're having conversations now with our directors, and we're going to do our best. I haven't gotten into the nitty-gritty. They haven't opened up the books for me. I don't step into office, so everyone knows. I actually don't come into office until the first week of January. But it's my hopes that we are going to rise to the occasion and meet this challenge without impacting the level of services that people have come to accommodate.
I think the city got COVID money too, about 40 million,
47
million.
Correct.
Is that going to help with the...
So
I know this is a one-time money.
Yeah,
but
so you know, some directors have asked if we can use this 47 million to cover the 16 million hole.
Okay.
Now, what people have to understand is the 16 million hole isn't a one-time hole. It's a hole every single year. But the 47 million is one-time money. And so I think it's a very poor investment to use these federal dollars to plug a hole just for 1 year.
Okay.
And so I've already given the directive to our directors and our finance director to move forward with the understanding that we are not to use the federal funds to cover up for this hole. That we're going to try to find it by improving the operations throughout the city. And I think we can do it. We've seen a lot of areas already in some of my conversations, things we can do to make the city more efficient that will produce savings. And so I think we can actually meet the occasion without impacting services and really put money back into some working families' pockets. People voted against, you know, the sustainment of the supplemental millage because the people know that Dearborn has one of the highest millage rates in Wayne County. And at the same time, they never felt like they were receiving value for the dollars that they were paying. And so I think it's, you know, it's something that, you know, we talked about lowering property taxes in the campaign trail. And so I'm not upset that the millage lost. I think it's an opportunity for me to deliver on a campaign promise that we ran on for a year.
I mean, I've heard you talking about just one of the departments when they changed the department head. I think you were talking about Tim Hawkins and his department, how they were able to save, I don't know what the dollar amount you were talking about, but that's probably one of the examples.
You know, Tim Hawkins, who's a phenomenal director, very intelligent, very smart, and very invested in this city. Born and raised in Dearborn as well.
And congrats to his mom too, Cheryl.
Cheryl Hawkins on the Charter Commission as well. Tim came in as a director in 8 months, was able to take a $900,000 overrun in the department, bring it down to zero. And so sometimes what happens is a fresh perspective, a new set of eyes can help bring savings. At the state of Michigan, when I was on the Health and Human Services budget, I still am. It's a $30 billion budget. We challenged the way that they dealt with their pharmacy line of business. And we made some changes. And we produced, you know, the estimates came back to roughly $200 million in savings every single year without impacting the quality of pharmacy care that people received. So a fresh perspective, a fresh set of eyes, and I think having a team at the helm who's really eager to try to work and resolve these issues, I think we're going to get it done.
Since you mentioned the state legislator, I know you're going to assume office the first week of January.
Correct.
Then you have to resign in mid-December, if I'm not wrong?
Probably the end of December, the last session day of December.
So is Dearborn going to lose representation? We've heard that from many people. Is Dearborn going to lose representation on state level? And if so, how are you planning to basically approach that?
So the office that I've built that helps residents on the day-to-day issues, that stays. The employees in that office stay. It doesn't go away.
So your staff stays?
All the staff stays. And they still answer the phones, they answer the emails and everything. You still need assistance with unemployment, they are still there. And so all that nothing changes there. Sylvia Santana is obviously one of our senators. Karen Whitsett is one of the state reps for the east portion of Dearborn. And then in having conversations with the governor, I've already had conversations with her. She's looking at what date to call a special election. And so she hasn't confirmed the date, but it's possible that we get a state rep in potentially earlier than most people anticipate in November. We might have a little bit earlier.
I've heard a couple of dates. I heard August.
So we have to have a primary and a general.
Exactly.
There's a suggestion out there that maybe we can have a primary around the March time.
So push
maybe
it like
March or April, and then have the general in August. Because the traditional election is already going to be in August.
Definitely.
And so maybe we can just line up a general election in August. So somebody will assume in August, and go through the December, then a new person will again assume in January. But it's also important to note that redistricting is happening.
I was going to say.
And so I right now have about 95% of Dearborn. If you look at the redistricting, Dearborn looks like it's going to be cut into three districts.
Pieces, yeah.
So you'll have West Dearborn go with Dearborn Heights, East Dearborn with Detroit, Warrendale area, and South, and I think it's like Southwest and South with Detroit as well. And so, you know, 3 new Dearborn seats. I don't think any of them are Dearborn dominated. I think the majority is actually outside of Dearborn, which I'm not happy about.
Yeah, I know they're not final, but كمان يعني we're to some extent.
So we're watching that closely and trying to see what we can do to help the process.
Abdullah, we've heard it on the campaign. We've seen some tension. We've seen some divisiveness, and you've talked about it to some extent. Now that you are mayor-elect, going to lead the city, inshallah, toward the future, how are you planning to unify the city?
You know, it was in our our speech the night of the election, talking about how, you know, we are the greatest city in all of America, but we have to be able to come together and bridge any divide, whether it's geographic, racial, ethnic, age, religious, whatever it might be, in order for us to come together. We did it again by launching a video about the transition team. And we said, you know, whether you voted for me or didn't vote for me, the reality is we all want the best Dearborn possible. And so we're welcoming everybody to participate in these conversations, to participate in our survey, in order to help move our city forward. If you look at my transition team, it's reflective of all the communities in the city of Dearborn. It's a very diverse team that's qualified. And I'm hoping that we can build an administration in the same way, so that everybody, when they walk into our city hall, feels represented in the people that are working on their behalf.
Definitely. We've seen, to some extent, a lack of accessibility, especially to those who don't speak the language very well, like especially those who speak Arabic or, you know, who speak Spanish but don't speak English fluently or are not able to communicate. How are you going to be able to work on this within your administration?
For example, our transition website, you can click and translate the whole website to Arabic. And so we're very mindful of that. Throughout the campaign, all of our policy proposals were made in English and Arabic. It's something I'm very mindful of. I'm hoping that we come into office. I know that we need to revamp our city website. And when we do that, I want to make sure that we have the translating capabilities for the languages that are most often used in the city of Dearborn, primarily Arabic and English. So I want to make sure that we have both capabilities built in. So it's top of mind. Yeah,
because I was talking to George, and actually, you know, during the commission meeting, we asked for translating services and about the translating department in our city. And it seems like even for the ballot, they had to outsource to get it translated into Arabic. So definitely, this is something that needs to be worked on.
I agree.
So the fabric can be worked on. Another thing, Abdullah, that actually was mentioned yesterday, it came out talking about drug overdose. And for the first time in the US, we have over 100,000 cases. And actually, Michigan is one of the highest. I think we have like almost 28 to 29% increase. I know maybe this is not directly as an administration, but your take on this. I know you come from a health background.
So, you know, one of the legislation that I'm hoping to get done, actually we have bills to help improve the situation on opioids. And so my bills passed out of the House just a week, 2 weeks ago. And they're going to the Senate. And if they get signed into law, God willing, it'll help prevent people from ever becoming addicted. Now at the city of Dearborn level, it certainly is an issue that we have to tackle, even at the mayor's office. And so a part of it is educational. A part of it is, in our public health plan, we talked about mental health crisis response teams. People who are a little more, people who can work in tangent with our police, fire, and dispatch to go out there and assist those who are suffering from addiction for varying degrees. And so we can look at successful models from throughout Michigan, throughout the country, to see what we can do better here. But we have a lot of great organizations helping working this issue, whether it's SAFE or Access or LAHC. And so I'm hoping that we can continue those collaborations to do what's best for the city.
Okay. For anyone that's asking about the website, it's dearborntransition.com. We'll put it in the comment section in a bit. Abdullah, some people are asking about the car insurance rate in Dearborn. We know this is not only Dearborn, this is probably Michigan. If you can also talk about this briefly, if you don't mind.
Yeah, one of the difficulties of the car insurance, frankly, is people know that Dearborn has an increase in car theft. We have a speeding and reckless driving problem. Those things feed into your car insurance rate.
Yeah.
And so if we're able to address those issues, there might be savings in the long run. What I'm hoping to do is actually pull in some of the largest auto insurers to the table and have a frank conversation about what we can do as a city to help try to drive down those costs. You know, there was a reform that was passed at the state of Michigan some years ago.
Yeah.
It wasn't perfect. There was some good and some bad to it. It provided some relief largely to those who had Medicare, those who might have Medicaid insurance, or those who have full coverage, including coverage for auto accidents. It provided you the option from lowering your healthcare benefit on your auto insurance. But now we also have to make sure that we're not a high risk area, high risk for car theft or high risk for speeding, reckless driving, because I can have a great record, but if you're my neighbor and you keep speeding and you have points and you have a car accident,
it's going to impact everyone in the neighborhood.
Impact everyone's insurance.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
So I think there's an educational component that we can make. And that's a part of the program for how we tackle speeding and reckless driving.
What's your plan to get feedback from different neighborhoods, Abdullah? I know this has been the issue of representation, especially many raised the concern of maybe only having one member, I believe, from the East End or the South End, on the council or on the charter or in terms of city government.
Yeah.
How are you planning? I know on your transition team you made sure to have people from all parts of the city.
Yeah.
But in terms, when you start to govern and administer, how are you planning to keep that connections with different neighborhood and listen to them and get that feedback from them?
One of our plans is, as we begin to, shape the budget for the next fiscal, for the 2023 fiscal year, we're really beginning to explore this idea of establishing a community relations department.
Nice.
And within it, kind of having neighborhood liaisons, similar to the Detroit model. Detroit has district managers, is what they're called. And so for me, it's getting 3 or 4 people from all across the city who are the point of contact for that neighborhood.
Okay.
If you have an issue with the building department, not sure who you can get a hold of, you're calling this person. If you need a translator on site, we're going to make sure that some of these people can speak multiple languages when the inspector comes to your home and you're not sure what to say.
Yeah.
If you had an issue with garbage pickup or a rat problem and you don't know who to call, you only have to call this one number and that person will go find the answer for you within the city.
Nice.
So we're trying to get, we're having that thought process. We talked about on the campaign trail, and hopefully when we come in and as we shape our budget, that's something that we want to give room to.
Very good. Another point, Abdullah, is basically I'm trying to answer the things I'm hearing on the street. I'm talking and interacting with people, and I do interact with people a lot, and I know you do the same. So I wanted this to be very inclusive of all the questions we've got, especially when we announced this. Many people, they reached out to us to basically make sure we answer some of their question. And one of the questions we got a lot is basically the youth. In terms of youth programs. In terms of indoor soccer field, our youth, they have to drive to different cities, to Dearborn Heights. We used to have to drive to Wixom or different, or Canton, you know what I mean, so they can play soccer, especially during the winter. So when we talk about the youth, Abdullah, any focus is going to be given to youth programs, things that can keep our youth local?
Yeah. So one of the community conversations we're having on this weekend and next is actually focused on youth, parks and recs, activities. We even have one for seniors, veterans, and those with disabilities.
Very good.
And what we're asking, we're bringing people who fall into that category. We're bringing young people, and we're asking them, what is it that you want to see? We're bringing parents and asking them, what is it that you want your children to have? So everything is up for evaluation about what we can or can't do. I would love to bring indoor soccer stadium to the city of Dearborn, and it might be a long-term project that we can work on. You have to identify the parcel of land first, bring in the investments, and so
I think the city, if you don't mind me interrupting at this, I think the city did a study on an indoor field, and they were talking about the area across the street from Ford's headquarters. I don't know if you're familiar with that plan. I think Shoshanian was working on it.
The open land across from the city hall?
Yeah, where the city hall, between the city hall and the library. There's
that open grass, correct, yeah.
I know because I was familiar with that, and I was part of the conversation, but I don't know where they...
Yeah, so just looking at that one parcel, it looks like that would just be big enough for one field, and I don't know if one field is enough.
Okay.
I think that's my initial thought. But again, once we get in there, we have a team put in place. We get through this, budgetary, moment in the first 6 months. I think everything, like I said, we can evaluate it. But we're having the conversations with youth.
Exactly.
And I want everybody to go to the website.
Yes.
And submit your ideas.
Yeah.
That's why it's there. It says, what is your vision for the city? What ideas do you want to share? And so I'm not here to tell you, it's going to be Hamoud's vision for Dearborn. No, I'm trying to make it Dearborn's vision for Dearborn. And so if you all chime in, the more you chime in, the better. Because all this information that you submit, the ideas you have, we're also putting in a report and presenting it to the transition team. And we're hopefully going to make it public at some point in time.
Since you mentioned a lot about the things happening on the weekend, which topics are you guys tackling? The study sessions will be about what in general?
The first 3 we have scheduled in the books will be about the economic development, building and assessing, kind of go hand in hand. We have one on legal and the corporate council. We have one on public safety. Those are the 3 that we currently have scheduled. The next set of ones that we're going to be scheduling will be on seniors, veterans, and those residents with disabilities. One on our youth and parks and rec, and one on public health and the overall environment and infrastructure. So those are the 6 panels that we've identified, at least for now, for this first week. And we'll see if we explore several others.
Where are you guys doing those without mentioning the exact location? I mean, is it Civic Center?
Yeah, we're doing it in Dearborn.
Yeah.
We have, some of them will be scheduled via Zoom. Because they're small enough, we have mask requirements for everybody participating. And so just walking in, I'm going to be, at every single one of these in my team. And, a 1 to 2 hour conversation per each topic.
When is your inauguration? I mean, you basically, you do it, you receive or you take office, you assume office, I think the first week of January?
Correct.
Are you planning an inauguration, like a public one?
Yeah, there will be a public inauguration.
Is it going to be at Fort Sun?
As much as I would love to. It's not only my inauguration, it's the inauguration for all the electeds. And so we're actually, it'll be myself, the city clerk, the city council, and since I get to make the decision, we're going to invite the city charter.
Thank you.
To come on stage and take your oath. Symbolic, but still just a recognition for everybody to introduce you before everyone and to take your oath in front of all the residents of Dearborn, because it's a successful election and you're elected officials in your own right. It'll be at the Civic Center.
Civic
Center. The date is not finalized, and so but we are looking at January 15th, which is a Saturday.
Are you going to have like an inauguration committee? لأنه اسم الله you're doing it أنت like a presidential style يعني بلشنا we started the Mayor-Elect website transition team.
I like it. I make sure that people understand we take this seriously. And that it's very professional. At the same time, I'm cognizant that I'm a little younger. And people might have their feelings for a younger person assuming office, and so I like to perform at the highest level each and every single time. And so we don't have an inauguration committee. I have a core team of people that are helping me with it. But we're just also monitoring COVID. We know the numbers are very bad right now. And so there'll be mask requirements for the inauguration ceremony. We're going to have an overflow room in the Lincoln Ballroom with a screen and seats there as well, to make sure that we're not spreading in any way.
Definitely. Abdullah, I don't want to take a lot of your time. I want to keep this short so people can, rewatch it and have something, not too long for an hour or two. Coming to a conclusion.
More like the beginning. More like the beginning.
More like a beginning. I mean, like we said, we just want to remind people that you didn't assume office yet. You're still Mayor-Elect trying to do your transition.
So.
Again, what do you want from the community? I mean, I'm going to give you your camera, your message to the community, and whatever you want to say. The camera is all yours.
My message is fairly simple. The campaign wasn't the hard part. It's what we're about to start in January. It's the actual being of a mayor and trying to execute on the various policies that we put in place, but we need your help. And so I'm asking everybody to go to the DearbornTransition.com website, to give us your ideas, to give us your vision for what you want to see in Dearborn, and to understand that change doesn't happen overnight. The changes that we're talking about, the fundamental, the infrastructure changes, it takes time. And if it took 20, 30, 40 years to create a problem, it's not going to flip within a matter of a month or two. There are some differences that we are going to be able to make on day one. But there are others, like we're talking about a website redesign or the ability to do permitting online. Those types of things take time to build out and to make sure that we do it successfully and efficiently. And so we're excited for the work ahead. We have a lot of challenges ahead of us, but I think that we're going to put together a team that the whole city can be proud of. I feel very good about it, just based on a lot of the conversations I've had over the last 2 weeks. And I hope that you all give this team the opportunity to work for you. I'm excited for it, and it's a partnership. It's what they call co-governing.
Right.
There should no longer be this separation between the mayor and council and the people. And so, everyone knows I'm the type of person that you'll see me at Kahwa House, or you'll see me at the Hamas eating a sandwich in my madhat. It's normal. You can walk up to me. Nothing has changed. People ask me, oh, how does it feel? For me, I woke up the next day, I went to the Hamas and I had my sigil sandwich. Nothing changed for me. And I just want to remind people that it's not the title that makes a person. It's the person that brings the respect to the title. And I'm hoping that we can walk away, people will walk away thinking that we brought respect to the office.
Definitely. I think one of the most important points that you mentioned, Abdullah, is give us time.
Yeah.
Things don't happen overnight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not assuming office now and next week you guys start asking about what's going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Help. If you see, there is a place where we can improve, I'm sure
identify it.
They can reach out to you. You're gonna have people responsible. You're gonna have an open door policy. You're gonna be able. You're out there in the community. You know what I mean? And you, we've been talking about ideas of how you can, use the media to stay connected with the community, and maybe about the call-in show or whatever the ideas we discussed. We'll keep inshallah in the future. But this is your place. This is your channel. Whenever you want.
No, thank you.
We always have this partnership.
And let me just conclude with this.
Please.
If I don't know about an issue, I can't fix it.
Definitely.
So some people might go on social media and use that as the means to complain about something that's happening very specifically on their street, in their neighborhood. But unless you made somebody aware of it, we don't know that we have to come out and fix it if we haven't been there. And so please submit it. Submit that idea. Submit that issue on our website. And hopefully when we redevelop our website, and we're going to try to create a phone app and make an easy way for people to send a message to the city saying, hey, this is happening. You'll have a much easier way to do it. If we have neighborhood liaisons, we have people that you can contact directly. But that will take time, but we're hopefully that we're going to move as quickly, as efficiently as possible, because we don't want to make mistakes. Undoubtedly, mistakes will happen. And we're not going to deliver 100% of the time. But I'm hoping that we're going to have a batting average, as they say, that people can be proud of, and we are going to tackle the fundamental issues.
Yeah. I think residents need to know that the success or the failure of the administration will reflect on the whole city. You know what I mean? So we really want everyone to pray and to help to make it a success, not a failure, inshallah.
And there are some issues I just can't fix.
Yeah. Exactly.
So there are some things that are without the purview.
I think transparency, and being open with people and let them know, the things, that you're able to do and the things you're not going to be able to do from the beginning. That will take away a lot of that. You know what I mean? Agree. Abdullah, once again, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Hussein. Congratulations to you as well.
Thanks a lot. Always a pleasure having you on WhatsApp Media Network, and thank you for always, responding and always being able to accept our invitations.
Of course.
قريت ربيع ما بيقول always those exclusive shows. أكيد تحية لربيع حمود. We love Rabia, and that all of your team that was working with you. You had an amazing team. A lot of the young professionals and the youth was on your team, and they made a big difference, to be honest with you.
They did.
So thank you, Abdullah, again for being here. Thank you, everyone, for watching this. This is going to be available for you guys to watch on Facebook, YouTube. Clips will be also posted on our Instagram and our TikTok. Always feel free to reach out to us through our social media. In Arabic, قناة شو الأخبار, and in English, WhatsApp Media Network, for any topic that you guys would like for us to discuss. This was our first exclusive interview with Mayor-Elect Abdullah Hammoud. Inshallah, many will come. Until next time, this was Hussein Hashim for WhatsApp Media Network. Good night.